Here's a tweet from Chad on the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed.
Hi, Chad.
At this point in Husker football never-ending, 15-year-plus nightmare, as a fan, just go ahead, get all the leaves shaken off the tree. Again, find out who's left, gather up the pieces, and move forward as I start day drinking. Wow. Congratulations on your Tuesday in December day drinking, Chad. Nice job by you.
Kind of jealous.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something about day drinking is more sad in the winter. It's happy in the summer.
Definitely.
You go wear a nice loose shirt. Mm-hmm. It's day drinking in the cold, unless you're like going to a football game afterwards. I don't know.
Like, oh, he's just enjoying the weather.
Yeah.
In the winter, you day drink and it's
you don't enjoy the weather.
What happened to that guy?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, we might be. That's definitely what we're seeing. We're seeing a bit of a reset at the moment. I don't think that has to be the worst thing in the world. I mean, this will be a topic that we just sort of intermittently hit throughout the show today, but I don't feel like the sky is falling for Nebraska. We'll discuss the Tony White thing from yesterday and sort of what that means and how it came to be and all of that stuff as we go on throughout the show today. But Rhule, in his time as a head coach, has pretty much always had successful defenses, even though, when he was coming up as a coach, he was, kind of largely an offensive, assistant and that kind of guy. But he said this. He said, hey, look, there's going to be a whole bunch of people that enter the transfer portal, and there's going to be some changes, and defensively, we're usually pretty good. And what he's decided on the offense is to, I think he came in. So basically what we're seeing is it's, I don't know if it's a change in philosophy as much as just a tweaking of that philosophy, right? We're seeing Matt Rhule almost, it seems like completely give up the reins to the offense, right? Dana Holgorsen, here you go. You have chops as an offensive coordinator. You have chops as a head coach. I trust you to run this offense, put people in the right positions for success, hire the right people to get us there, and, get the players to get us there as well. We're seeing Matt Rhule kind of step away from that a little bit. Will we see the same thing with the defensive side of the ball? My gut says no. I think part of sort of what has happened, people, we talked about it yesterday, how just weird it was this year with Matt Rhule and Tony White. And, and that certainly happened when John Butler came in at the beginning of the season, and everybody sort of anointed him as the coordinator in waiting. And then there was bringing in Phil Snow as well. And Tony had a quote a couple weeks ago, I think this is before the Wisconsin game, about how, the head coach gets what the head coach wants and stuff like that. But if you're Tony White, you want to have full control of the defense. You want it to be yours. And I think with Matt Rhule, that kind of wasn't going to happen. That kind of wasn't going to happen, even though that they were successful generally over the last 2 years. But they weren't doing some of the things last year that were core principles, and that was Tony White showing last year. This year, maybe as the season went on, just a little bit less of that. And the defense, I think, suffered because of it. Obviously still good when you wrap it all up, generally. So when you're looking to find what direction Nebraska might go with their new defensive coordinator hire, I probably would, just putting all of those things together, I probably would look internally at someone who's been here or is here right now, and that Rhule could say, all right, you kind of know what I want, and I'm going to be involved in this thing, so it's yours, but it's also mine at the same time. And as long as you could get somebody to kind of agree with that and say, yeah, I'm good with that. Like, I want to coordinate a defense, and that's always been John Butler's thing, right? He didn't see a path to coordinating the Buffalo Bills defense as he was passed up for it last year. So he left, and he didn't have a job, and he came here and he saw a path to being Nebraska's defensive coordinator one day. And it feels like that path has sort of arrived, but it still feels like Matt Rhule is going to have his fingerprints on the defense and the principles of what they want to do defensively. Now, what does that exactly look like? I'm not sure. I mean, what we saw this year is playing a little bit more straight up, right? Less stunts and twists and 100 different people and personnel and stuff like that. And so, like, what White was doing, and I don't want to put this negatively, what White was doing was a little bit more kind of gimmicky, I guess. Once again, I think a lot of Tony White. The whole Tony White like slander thing that has happened now over the last couple of days is pretty wild to me. I'm not sure I understand that.
I never understood it. I mean, that was a top small sample size, I know, but it was a top 20 defense, top 25 defense.
I get it. He's leaving, and the defense maybe didn't live up to expectations this year, but sometimes it just comes down to vision quests, Josh, for both the head coach and the coordinators, and alignment. And isn't that a good thing? After all, if you could say at the end of the day, our coaching staff is aligned, the expectations are known and communicated, and who does what is known and communicated, and whose responsibility is what and is known and communicated, and everybody agrees with that and sees it the same way. Isn't that kind of what you want? Now, we like to play fantasy football coaching staff all the time, but that's kind of what you want. You want a bunch of guys who are all sort of moving in the same direction. You want alignment. How long have we talked about that around here in a more general sense? So I don't at all look at yesterday like, oh wow, the sky is falling. This is horrible stuff. I don't think it has to be good either. I think Nebraska lost a really good coach with Tony White.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. In any corporate setting, you want to set the expectations and have your staff deliver on those expectations. And it seems as though somewhere along the way, the expectations were changed, whether that be knowingly or unknowingly, to the staff.
Yep. And moves happen because of it. Okay.